Role players are integral to any good team. Not everyone can average 20 points per game, not everyone can average 10 assists per game. Not everyone can be an elite shooter and have sets drawn up specifically to get them open. Some players have to do the other things. Some have to guard the opposing team's best player and then be asked to knock down an open shot if the ball happens to swing their way. If you have players on your team that are willing to accept their role and do what is needed to help the team reach its ultimate goal, then you're well off. But what if that player wants to spread his wings? What if he believes there is more to his game than meets the eye? What if they see what they believe is a better opportunity for their NBA career? Players have egos, in a good way. They wouldn't make the league without it. And sometimes, players want to explore what's out there, or for lack of a better phrase, bet on themselves. We now turn to Jerami Grant, a player drafted by Sam Hinkie and the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round of the 2014 draft. Grant came into the league physically gifted, raw, and no discernible skills at the time, but had an incredible work ethic. After the next Sixers general manager, Brian Colangelo, traded him to the Oklahoma City Thunder for the pick that actually ended up being rookie guard Tyrese Maxey, Grant started carving out his niche in the NBA as a 3-and-D player, making at least 37% of his threes in 2 of the 3 seasons with the Thunder. The 2018-19 season was when Grant really started realizing the 3-and-D role, shooting slightly above 39% from 3 on what was his highest amount of attempts to that point, averaging 13 points per game to boot, while being a switchable deterrent with his length and athleticism. He took that upgraded skill package with him to Denver when the Thunder traded him in the summer of 2019. And while he only started 40 games out of the 90 games he played that year, including the playoffs where the Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, he played an important role, often tasked with guarding the team's best player. This was especially important since Nuggets guard Gary Harris was battling injuries all last season. The Nuggets wanted to bring Jerami Grant back, but it looked like Grant had other ideas in mind. The Detroit Pistons offered him a 3-year $60 million deal over this past offseason, which was in November somehow. This season is all weird. But the Nuggets reportedly matched that offer. The Pistons, however, had another thing to offer Grant that the Nuggets couldn't. Opportunity. Opportunity to expand and explore how good he can be. And while the Nuggets did have their perks, being a conference finalist and having the ability to play next to a savant like Nikola Jokic, Grant wanted to bet on himself and see how good of a player he can be. Counting on his work ethic and continued improvement, he took the deal with the Detroit Pistons, which was widely criticized by everyone, including myself. But so far, Grant's self-made bet is paying off big time. So far this season, Jerami Grant is averaging career highs across the board. Points per game, rebounds per game, assists, minutes, field goal attempts, you name it. Head coach Dwayne Casey has empowered Grant with a bigger role, and it has done wonders. There are a lot of cases where players will take on a bigger offensive role than before, but at the expense of other areas, like efficiency. Not in Grant's case so far this year. He has basically doubled his scoring output while maintaining above average efficiency. He is shooting 40% from the three-point line on a career-high number of attempts and is also shooting a career-high from the free throw line while more than doubling his attempts. Playmaking isn't exactly his strong suit, but he has also more than doubled his assist. And while his turnovers have also gone up, which is a byproduct of his increasing usage, he still almost has a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, and there could be some more playmaking abilities he has yet to tap into, especially if the Pistons find ways to improve the roster over the duration of Grant's contract. But that part will be difficult, of course. We should talk a little bit about this Pistons team, because there is skepticism that Grant's numbers could be empty calorie stats driven by the fact that the Pistons have a poor record. I don't see that though. For those who haven't been watching the Pistons, they have been in a lot of close games. They've played in 12 games where the score was 5 points or less with 5 minutes left in the game, and yes, they are only 2-10 in those games, but this shows that Grant's stats are not a byproduct of a bad team getting blown out so his numbers are inflated. He has been getting meaningful reps and meaningful possessions so far this year. So if you're looking for confirmation that Grant's leap isn't a mirage, this is a pretty great sign, especially now that we're a quarter of a way through the season. His shot profile also leads me to believe this is sustainable as well. While I wish he wouldn't sacrifice some of his rim takes for more mid-rangers, he is hitting the mid-range jumper at a decent rate. but it's the three-point shot and the free throw attempts that have me hyped for Grant's continued development as a scorer. He is already on pace to clear his previous season high of attempts at the rim, and he is already on pace to destroy his previous season total of three-point attempts. His handle is still loose, but he has gotten better, and his long strides and wiry frame and size allows him to scoot past a defender and slither his way to the rim, where he'll either finish or draw a foul. His passing on the move is honestly something that I'm interested in tracking. This pass right here is off target just a tad, but just the fact that he saw the opening and still got it to the rookie Isaiah Stewart for the layup shows that Grant is seeing stuff that is just beyond the scope of his improved scoring. Even if his shot isn't falling, he has shown so far this year that he can impact the game in other ways, like his previous roles on previous teams. By the way, he is doing this while arguably playing out of position. Grant is spending 60% of his minutes playing small forward per Basketball Reference. It's not surprising, because the Pistons have a bunch of players that could either play power forward, small forward, or center. They have a bunch of them. But this is the highest amount of small forward minutes Grant has played since his first couple of years with the Process Sixers. He is only playing power forward 40% of the time, and it's arguably his better position. Starting next to Blake Griffin and Mason Plumlee will definitely do that, but it's impressive that Grant is still making this transformation while playing out of position most of the time, showing that he can be a malleable player and that he can adjust to his own situation, which he has been doing in a big way since he got to Detroit. Who knows how the roster will shake out over the next couple of years, especially with Blake Griffin and other vets on this team. But I do like the draft haul they got. Though prized lottery pick Killian Hayes has been injured, I am a huge Sadiq Bey guy. Isaiah Stewart looks to be the outline of a rugged big who is tough and nasty on the inside, and the Pistons are on track to keep their top 16 protected first-round pick this year. They have log jams at certain positions and uncertainty in other areas of the team, and they also had a very questionable free agency at best. But if Jerami Grant keeps playing this way and keeps making improvements and building on the strides he has already shown thus far in his career, the Pistons have found themselves another keeper to hold on to for the long haul.